commercial.
Okay, now we're truly not responding to dynamics in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And part of the dynamics we're not responding is the need for public transportation. First, we have too many vehicles on our roads. And that's why we need parking. In 2015, we were talking about 75,000 commercial vehicles, which we needed to mop up.
That's a lot.
As at that time. Last time I checked, I was trying to prepare a paper and I was researching. Now we have over 200,000 commercial vehicles. We mopped up the Molue buses to bring in the BRT buses. And the idea was the next phase was to mop up the Danfo buses. But what do we have now? Instead of mopping the Danfo buses, we now have those other tiny buses again, which in the
cluster the road
in the local parlance they call them Korokwe.
Yes.
So those ones are more. We now have tricycles.
Yeah.
All congesting our road system. So we are truly not responding to the dynamics. We are not applying the right medication to our illness. So what we need first is to invest in public transportation, mass transit, so that we can mop up all of those vehicles, make them freer. You will need less land for parking. There are also some dynamics now. You know, Uber and Bolt were not the in thing then.
No, they
now
were
you
not.
have them now. So why would I need to take my car?
All the time.
All the time, you know. So, but all of these things are, and we need data, studies all the time. We're not studying, we're not conducting any studies. And this will be the result all of the time. Failure of systems because we're not reviewing, examining ourselves to know whether we are making progress.
Okay. Now, because of the progress that has been achieved in society in terms of, say, advancements in information technology, it's easier to send information, receive information, share information, right? The younger generation is more into that than the older generation. However, politically speaking, how do we get the younger generation to even trust the older generation enough in terms of charting the right course for the future? Because they're the ones that will solve this problem we're saying.
I agree with you. It's a matter of trust. I'll give you a personal experience. I was going to, before I left for government service, I went through a leadership course, and one of the things that I came across was the fact of some businesses that have stayed over 100 years. And they all started with individuals.
Yes.
Family businesses. And then I learned the liberal nature of those businesses, the ability to absorb people, the ability to give room for talent and things like that. And I remember that one of the things I used to say when I got back from the training, I was like, well, this Tony and Associates is just, it bears my name, but I'm not the owner. That if God asks me to do something else, I'll just move on. And lo and behold, I was invited to become a commissioner. So what did I do? I took younger people, my own staff, I took them to the bank and authorized the bank to open another Tony and Associates account to which they will be signatories and I will not be. That's trust.
That's trust.
You know, so from then on, every proceeds that came to the farm went into that account. They were the ones managing the account. Because of trust, I didn't need to call them to say, how much is there? I hope you have not finished spending. You know, I had made up my mind the day I was given that endorsement. I made up my mind that the worst that will ever happen is that they will close down the business. But you know what? They didn't close it down.
Yes.
They did it better than I would have done if I was still there, because they could take risks, risks that I wouldn't have taken because of my generation.
Yeah.
There's a book on relationship. I've forgotten the author now, but it was from that book that I learned about generations.
Yes.
And why, given the same amount to do the same thing, it would take me a longer time to do that thing than somebody who is younger.
Who is younger, yes.
Because he doesn't care to take the risk. I'll remember that I'm a grandfather.
Yes.
You know, all of those things. So those are the things I think we should begin to think about now. I think younger people should be given opportunity to take the risk on our behalf. We will also be taking a risk by trusting in them.
Yes.
Now somebody says, if you trust them and they disappoint you, if you say because they will disappoint, you will not trust
take
them.
the risk of trusting.
Then we'll just remain where we are, meaning the status quo. And somebody said the true meaning of status quo is the mess you are in. So if you say let the status quo remain, you are saying let the mess we are in remain. So I think if we want to get out of the status quo, we must take a plunge.
Yes.
Close our eyes. Let those young men try it. We're still alive to correct them.
To correct them.
But if we don't allow them...
But see, let's now conversely flip it. You recently, one of the parties, the APC to be candidate, right, decided to offer for sale its presidential form, nomination form, for 100 million naira for a job that for the entire tenure will be bringing in to the president or the candidate less than 60 million naira. So that's like you are being asked to go look for 100 million, come and invest it in a game of chance. You may end up not even being the candidate. And even if you end up being the candidate, your take-home pay is less than 60 million naira. So what are we saying to the young people? Yes, you say it is reduced for them to 50 million. How many young people will have 50 million naira and want to be president? Are we really serious?
Well, this is a turf that I'm still growing in.
Yes, we all are.
I say that I'm not an experienced politician, and truly I don't know the basis. First, I was thinking, or probably they want to test the sacrifice of the candidates, but how far would that really go? Because if we want them to sacrifice for Nigeria, I don't know if that money will really be put into...
The money will stay in the party.
So I really don't understand. But for me, I think if we make it more liberal, we're likely to get people who will perform, but they may not have that resource. You know, because it's not every time that your resource determines that you have something here.
Exactly. All right, we'll take a break now. When we return, Tamplana India and I will be talking about the younger generation, their expectations, and how we of the older generation can lift them up. Stay tuned. It's still Timeless Conversation with my guest, Tamplana Ayinde. Now, young people, have we failed them, really? Or have we helped them? Or do we even understand them? We are quick to look at them as having a sense of entitlement, which is valid. And they're also quick to let us know that they are irritated by our style of administration or our style of doing stuff. even when you employ young people, sometimes I've heard somebody say that, I don't understand my staff. Do we understand young people?
I think we should understand life as a continuous process. And when something is continuous, then we need to also learn
Yes.
as we go on. I look at the younger generation from the angle of my children. I have 4 children. And the first thing I know about them is that they are all different human beings. They all have separate ideas. I have the one that is carefree. I have one that is focused. I have one that is moody. His mood can just swing and things like that. So, and I know what to ask one person to do and the other not to do. So it takes time to study human beings and know what they are good at. And it's better to play with people's strength rather than bring out their weaknesses.
Yeah.
I think part of the things we don't do is to see the good in the younger generation.
Yeah.
I was part of a committee recently. We're still working, and we're trying to hold a professional summit. And then I was told that the theme they were considering was to look into drug abuse and things like that. So I said, so why are you looking at our youths only from drug abuse, things like that? Why are you not looking at their potentials in a challenging nation? You know, things like that, which we eventually agreed on. So I believe that given the right environment, given the guidance, our youths can actually do a lot better than us. Like I said, they have the energy. I go back to my background again. I said I'm a Christian and I've looked through the Bible. Anytime God wants to do any change, he does it through young men.
That's deep. That's true.
He does it through young men. When Moses was choleric, when he was young, he saw somebody oppressing the other. He said, why? He went out, as a young man. He was drunk, Joshua was full of strength, David, look at how
very exuberant.
He was a game changer when he saw Goliath. I mean, Saul was probably a grandfather and everybody was afraid. He was running away from Goliath. But this 17-year-old boy ran towards him.
Yeah.
So I've seen young people effect the change. So when we are looking for change, we should be looking for the people whose blood is still hot. They are damning the consequences.
Yeah.
I know what I could do when I was younger. There are things now. Moses Ogunleye, my colleague, made an observation when I became a commissioner. He said, Egbon, I can see that you talk, you are slower now when you want to speak. And there were a lot of things to think about. As commissioner, anything that came from my mouth would be a policy statement.
Declaration.
So I have to think and be slow about it. That's what happens to the older generation. There are a lot of things, a lot of sentiments at times to consider. So I think what the youths have as an advantage is that energy. But you can now channel that energy. And if we truly begin to trust that, we send them to school not to be stupid. So, and we are not giving them the opportunity to use it, And I think part of the reasons why some of us don't want to leave power now is that we are not given the opportunity to test our leadership potential when we are young. So it's at 60, it's at 65 that you are now becoming somebody. You won't want to leave.
You don't want to leave.
But that's really not the right age
to
now be showing as a leader. When I was going to contest as president of my institute, I was 57. And many people were asking me to step down for another person so that the person, and I did my calculations. I said, look, at 57, I will be second national vice president for 2 years. I'll be first national vice president for 2 years because it's a grooming process.
Yeah.
And then I'll become president. I said, by the time I'm president, I'll be 61. I said, if you ask me to step down and we try to do some zoning kind of, by the time that opportunity comes to me again, I'll be 63. 2 years as second vice, 2 years as first vice. By the time I become the president, I'll be 67. I said I will be a stupid 67-year-old man if I cannot show you
an institute.
If I can't show you 5 younger people
Yes.
that will do it better than me. So I think we need to know that leadership has energy. So there's an age for leadership.
Yeah.
There's an energy for leadership. There's a speed for leadership.
Yeah.
I've gone to 25 states, and I spend 3 days, and I'm off to another place, and I'm off to another place. You know, one of our past presidents said, Tony, you know why you're able to do this? You are still young.
You're still young. Yeah, that's true.
So we need to put our young people out there to bring out the best in them, especially now that we're in the technology age.
Yes. Now, because they are even more technology savvy, they are exposed to a lot more of information than we were at our own time. They also need to listen to us. How do we make them listen to us?
Okay. You develop a relationship. Most times we're disconnected from our youths. You know, when parents are talking to their children, and you get to a point that a father is saying, I'm the one that gave birth to you, something is missing.
It's already threatened.
It's threatened. So it's like when a husband is telling his wife, do you know I'm the husband in this house?
Yes.
It's a break in communication. So we must always communicate with our children. I tell my children stories. I remind them of when I took them to school and I hadn't paid their school fees. And I was asked to take them back home. That's to let them remember that we didn't become who we are now just like this. It didn't happen to us.
Yes.
We went through processes.
Yes.
I remind them of when the car broke down.
Yes.
And we had to push.
Yeah.
So if we have one now that is remote controlled, don't be arrogant.
Yes.
We worked our way there.
Yes.
So all of these conversations we must have from time to time. I don't stop my children from asking me questions. It's different from in those days when we were brought up. Once our fathers, when you hear the car horn, everybody runs for cover.
Everywhere is cool.
Yes, and when daddy is in the sitting room, nobody is there. But this is different.
Yes.
You can come and discuss and things like that. And that's that's what we should really cultivate.
There's actually this push in these days now where they say that we should mentor the younger generation. The question I have is, who mentored you? Now, how do you mentor someone else when you were not mentored yourself?
Now, mentoring really should be like a kind of taking someone by the hand and letting him know this and that. But for us, I think there are many things we picked on the way. You might not have been told directly. It's like being in an apprenticeship.
Sure.
You know, I wonder how some of these mechanics get to, because all they will just be doing is to be looking at their oga.
Yeah.
You know, so, and there are things that can be taught. There are things that are caught.
Yes.
You can't teach it.
Yeah.
So, but somehow is by either looking at someone over time, reading something, and it just strikes you. You know, that's the way some of us developed.
Yes.
And I think when our children look at us long enough, I was shocked when I went for my daughter's graduation in secondary school, and they had this magazine, and they put, "Who is your mentor?" And she wrote, her father. I was shocked. So this child is looking at me.
That's
so
weird.
that means that I must not fail.
Fail her.
I must fail her. So as mentors, let me say as examples to our children, we will be mentoring them.
Okay.
That's the way I want
And
to
then we need to also take that outside the home.
Oh, of course. Do you know why we are building them in the home? We are building them for the society.
Yeah.
And I've seen my children come to tell me, and this is where we really have to be careful. My children have told me that, Dad, we see some of these things that you are saying. They are true. I said, but people are not practicing them out there. And that's the sad thing.
That's it.
Because no child of mine would break a traffic signal.
Certainly not.
No child of mine, whatever chaos is on the road, will drive against traffic.
Yeah.
No child of mine will do that.
Yeah.
But they see other people do these
it.
things
And they wonder.
every day.
Yeah.
So this is what we are up against. So how many parents have taught their children
Not to do that.
not to do that?
Yeah.
That's the challenge.
Well, let's go back to the home now. I asked you at the initial stage that who is doing and you did, and you tried. Now, I'm coming back there. As a person, what are the things that give you pleasure?
Let me start by saying my relationship with God. And then my relationship with my family. I've been very close with my wife. Very, very close. We're very close.
Yeah.
So that helps me, and my children also know that. So we have grown together. I've not been privileged to close from work, then go somewhere and relax for hours before coming home. Once I'm done at work, I just go home, sit with my family. My relationship with God. I love getting principles.
Okay.
As I read the Bible, I'm not reading the story, I'm looking for the principles. So as to apply.
Yeah.
Because those things are meant to be applied to make you different as you are. So if you are disciplined, why are you disciplined? I've read people who are disciplined.
Yes.
I've read about people who knew how to add value.
Yes.
You know, so, and I hold that I'm God's representative.
Okay, so
at any time.
What's your favorite food?
If you give me amala, the on the spot one.
The on the spot one.
Yes. If you give me 3 times a day, I won't complain.
Ah. You know, I remember when we were talking off the camera about the simplicity of the food, that gari and ekpa any day is a good combination.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I've taken quite a number of times in my office. I used to say when I was in government service that I did not, on account of becoming a commissioner, relocate my lunch area to Sheraton.
Exactly. Because you stop being commissioner one day and then you go back to the basics. But how did you become a commissioner? You were not a politician then.
I wasn't in politics. I was not a politician. It started from service. Because many people will know. There is a tendency to think that it just happened. But no, it didn't just happen. I remember when I used to send emails to the governor. When I noticed anything, I would send emails to the governor. I went to Nanjing in 2008. I saw some things. I took pictures. And when I arrived, it was my personal trip.
Yeah.
And I sent to the governor, I said, this is possible in Lagos. And then I had an opportunity to consult for Ministry of Housing. It was a project for which I had no letter of award, for which I had no dime as advance payment.
Yeah.
But just I saw it as a privilege to be invited to come and give service.
Yes.
And I prepared a 12-week schedule and I dived into that assignment. And, you know, I didn't know that the governor was seeing this product being done free, not being paid for.
Yeah.
And it was there, and then he asked that I should be given a project. And when I submitted that project, when I presented, he said this was a very good work. And then I was given a second project, and I was given a third project. It was while I was on that third project that one day I received a phone call. He was the governor. He said, I'd like to discuss with you. The rest is history. So what I have learned from that is Proverbs 22:29. Do you see a man diligent in his duties? He will stand before kings and not before men. So this is how I got to government. But having been in government, I served the APC government. So, and
So you became APC.
courtesy
You
demands,
became APC.
courtesy demands that I'm a
Carrying
member of
Well,
APC.
Let me thank you for your time. We'll do this again as soon as we can, and I wish you the very best in your tenure
Thank you very
as
much.
President of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners. It's been Timeless Conversations with Town Planner Toyin Ayinde as my guest. Thank you for coming.
It's a privilege, sir.
All right. Thank you all for watching. We'll be with you sometime soon. Thank you.
Fearlessness. It is a powerful state of mind free from the weight of limitations and challenges. Challenges that become thrilling adventures, propelling you forward. In the face of adversity, a focus that remains unwavering, fixed firmly on the exhilaration of victory rather than the fear of defeat. It can be built from that education that cultivates a bold and fearless generation of leaders, innovative thinkers, and entrepreneurial sons and daughters of Africa. This is the purpose behind Wigwe University, a beacon of knowledge that will guide the African youth through the realms of academia and the profound lessons of existence. With mentorship and guidance, shaping them into embodiments of fearlessness so that one day they shall proudly declare, "We, the fearless." Welcome to the fearless generation.
And now, let's join ace broadcaster Mamode Akuga as he takes us inside the Niger Delta.
Hello out there and welcome to the program. It's Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region. I'm your regular host, Mamode Akuga.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Mixed reactions have continued to trail the recent federal government announcement of a 70,000 minimum wage for Nigerian workers. The development, which came after several months of deliberations between organized labor, the private sector, and the federal government, the new minimum wage seems to fall short of the expectations of the masses. Our correspondent, who spoke to ordinary Nigerians in some Niger Delta states, reports widespread concerns that the increasing cost of goods and services, driven by high inflation, will render the wage increase inconsequential for the living conditions of the people.
Last week, the Nigerian organized labor, private sector, and the federal government finally resolved the contentious issue of minimum wage. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, after meeting with labor leaders, proposed a new minimum wage of 70,000 naira for Nigerian workers. This figure marks a 133% increase from the previous minimum wage of 30,000 naira that was implemented in 2019. In addition to the new wage, an agreement was reached to review the minimum wage every 3 years instead of every 5 years. The federal government, as in the past, also promised to roll out initiatives to ease the economic woes of Nigerians, such as the acquisition of compressed natural gas buses. Our crew went to streets in Delta and Rivers State to gather the thoughts and feelings of Niger Deltans on the approved minimum wage, especially in light of the current economic realities.
You receive 100,000 as salary, you use 60,000 naira to fuel your car. What will you eat? Children are going school, everything is on high side. I want to beg the government that they should please not to kill us.
We are dying in frustration, so even the minimum wage is not even helping matter because everything is very high. Even school fees now, everything, house rent, everything have increased. So let the fuel price go down to the normal price, then it will not regulate everything in this country.
Before, I do come to market with 2,000, sometimes 3,000, 5,000. I will use that money to get what I need in the market, but now 10,000 cannot buy anything again.
Like rice now, they buy rice. Before rice, a paint was 5,000. Now a paint of rice next 8,000. So we are tired.
In 1981, Nigeria implemented its first minimum wage, pegged at 125 naira. At that time, $1 was equivalent to 0.61 naira. This means that the Nigerian workers' minimum monthly wage was about $204 then. Today, with the exchange rate at about 1,600 naira to $1, a worker needs to earn about 320,000 naira to match the 1981 value. While the recently approved minimum wage of 70,000 naira is just worth around $43, an amount that significantly falls short of the global requirement of $2.15 per day to live above the poverty line. With headline inflation presently at 34.19% and the cost of petroleum product continuously rising, Niger Deltans are unimpressed with the new minimum wage. They worry that their economic situation may continue to worsen.
So if you check the transportation to office, it's not easy. So where you are paying like 100 naira before, it's now like 200, 250. Before you take your lunch and everything, 70,000 naira is already gone. So what about your family? So government should do something about it.
Many people are jumping inside the ocean. Many people are committing suicide. People are dying because of hunger. There's no more way forward in this country. So the country is gone and gone forever.
I just want to believe that peradventure is just a step to making sure that it looks as if it was just doubled from the 30,000 it used to be, so that it will look as if it's going on the arithmetic progression. But to me, the 70,000 is nothing to write home about.
Economists and analysts, while commenting on the recent development, urge the federal and state government to provide incentives and policies to stimulate production in the country so as to salvage the precarious economic situation.
I think that the federal government should put a process of tackling inflation and reducing the exchange rate. So these two things are not helping us at all.
If we are not producing, our GDP will not increase. So the government should focus on industrialization, industrialize the economy, go into each of the states, build industries, utilize the raw materials we have as a nation, utilize the natural resources we have as a nation. Let's begin to produce. If we are not producing, then the inflation will not be curtailed.
Inside the Niger Delta.
The leadership of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, has urged beneficiaries of its foreign postgraduate program to be good ambassadors of the region as well as Nigeria in their academic pursuits abroad. Board Chairman Mr. Chiedu Ebie and Managing Director Dr. Samuel Obuku, who addressed the scholars at the pre-departure event held in Port Harcourt recently, assured them that the Commission would fulfill all obligations to ensure that they have a seamless experience throughout their studies.
In order to make a difference in every sector and sphere of the Niger Delta region, the foremost Nigerian Intervention Agency in 2010 initiated a program focused on building the capacity of the teeming young population in the region with cutting-edge education and training to meet the growing development needs in the region and the country at large. This is known as the Niger Delta Development Commission's Foreign Postgraduate Scholarship Program. This allows indigenous graduates with specializations across areas such as engineering and environmental sciences, agriculture and oil and gas, among others, to pursue postgraduate degrees from reputable universities across the world. The Commission recently concluded plans to send 200 beneficiaries of the program for the 2024 to 2025 academic year. Though some beneficiaries of the scheme in the past experienced issues such as delayed payment of their tuition and allowances, the NDDC Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer Dr. Samuel Obuku gave the assurance of timely payments of all fees and entitlements going forward. He also called on the scholars to be of good conduct and demonstrate the resilient spirit of a typical Niger Deltan in their academic pursuit.
So for you to have been offered this opportunity and platform, take it up as a challenge. That challenge that you're going to make your region proud. If others have gone and they've been back successfully, making us proud, we believe if there's anything more than distinction, we know you can achieve it. Because I know the Niger Delta students are the brightest in Nigeria. And we believe in you because you people are the future. We want a situation whereby when you come back, you can do better than us.
Mr. Chiedu Ebie, Governing Board Chairman of the Commission, also advised the beneficiaries to make the best use of the opportunity to acquire technical expertise for the overall development of the region and the country.
The credibility of this program is not in doubt. You don't need to know anybody. All you need to do is participate in the process. And we do hope that this time next year, when we gather again, we would have more students that graduate with distinction.
Beneficiaries appreciated the intervention agency for the scheme and promised to be good ambassadors of the region.
So I'm grateful to NDDC for the opportunity given to the youths in the Niger Delta to become better professionals in their field of study. And overall, my experience during the assessments, it was hitch-free, it was stress-free.
So my target is to gain the necessary knowledge and be able to contribute to the agricultural sector, most especially in the Niger Delta region.
But I'm grateful to God and I'm grateful to NDDC for this great opportunity, and I promise to bring back home positivity, development.
Dr. Samuel Obuku also promised that any of the scholars who graduates with a distinction in the master's program stands a chance to be sponsored for a doctorate program. The scholarship scheme is an important component of the NDDC's Human Capital Development Program, which highlights the irreplaceable role of quality education as a tool for driving sustainable development and peace in the oil-rich region.
Inside the Niger Delta.
The management of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, says the agency will continue to explore ways to meet the growing health and medical needs of the largely underserved communities in the oil-rich Niger Delta region. Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the NDDC, Dr. Samuel Obuku, stated this during the recent commissioning of ambulances acquired by the NDDC for distribution to hospitals across the 9 states of the region. He also announced that a strategic partnership between the Commission and the World Health Organization is underway. Meanwhile, the Federal House of Representatives last week approved the NDDC's infrastructure-focused budget of 1.911 trillion naira for the 2024 fiscal year.
Following its recently concluded free medical outreach program across the 9 states of the Niger Delta region, the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC) acquired 13 ambulances for distribution to hospitals across the region. The commission emphasized that this move aligns with its commitment to the health and well-being of the people in the area. These ambulances are expected to enhance the capacity of health centers to respond to emergencies and epidemics, such as the current cholera outbreak affecting parts of the Niger Delta. The governing board and management of the NDDC, accompanied by the World Health Organization's country representative in Nigeria, Dr. Walter Kazadi Mulombo, recently inaugurated the emergency vehicles. Speaking at the event, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of NDDC, Dr. Samuel Ogbuku, reiterated the Commission's commitment to the health and well-being of the underserved peoples in the region.
We decided to come up with this idea to ensure that we provide emergency ambulances that will respond to emergency situations. With the fact that cholera is gradually becoming an epidemic that is ravaging the country, we felt in doing this to be our own support to the region.
Chairman of the board, Mr. Chiedu Ebie, while calling for the responsible use of the emergency vehicles, noted that the board and management are working hand in hand to ensure that no community or person is left unattended in the region.
Health is the single most important aspect of our lives and our day-to-day living. And so we will continue to play our role, we will continue to contribute, we will continue to intervene in the health sector to ensure that we improve the well-being and the health of the people of Niger Delta.
Dr. Ogbuku further called on the World Health Organization, which had submitted a partnership guideline to the Commission earlier that day, to swiftly consider combining their resources and expertise with the interventionist agency to meet the overbearing medical needs of the people in the region.
We want to ensure that in our future free medical outreach, it is going to be a partnership between NDDC and World Health Organization.
In another development, the Federal House of Representatives last week, in a unanimous voice vote, passed the Niger Delta Development Commission's 1.911 trillion naira spending estimates for the 2024 fiscal year.
I rise to move that the House do receive the report of the Committee on Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, on the issue from the statutory revenue funds of the Niger Delta Development Commission to the total sum of 1,911,800,000,000 naira only.
This year's budget, which is obviously the largest in the Commission's history, was recently approved by the Nigerian Senate. With the nod from both the lower and upper legislative chambers, the next step is presidential authorization and subsequent disbursement of funds. This will enable the Commission to embark on significant infrastructure development and social programs aimed at improving the lives and livelihoods of people in the oil-rich Niger Delta region.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Standout Properties Limited presents a real estate opportunity of a lifetime. Bloom Towers, a waterfront twin high-rise buildings of 19 and 21 stories at the edge of the Atlantic Ocean in the prestigious Oniru area, Victoria Island, Lagos. Bloom Towers is a green and smart building project consisting of 1, 2 and 3 bedroom apartments and maisonettes, as well as 10,300 square meters available space for commercial and corporate use. Built for completion in 2027, Bloom Towers has 236 units available for sale with a starting price of 100 million naira. Lock down a unit today with a down payment of 20% and spread the balance over the next 24 months. Contact us on 080-693-47063 or 091-22-656-975.
It is a project that will bring huge return on investment.
Bloom Towers, from foundation to skyline.
Azikil Group, oil and gas, dredging, power and air transportation. Azikil Group, petroleum product sufficiency. energy sustainability, and infrastructure development.
Delta State Governor Right Honorable Sheriff Oborevwori has expressed satisfaction with the progress of the ongoing flyover construction work at the PTI junction in Uwia local government area of the state. Governor Oborevwori, who was visibly pleased with the pace and quality of work on one of the 3 flyovers his administration is building in the Warri area during the recent visit to site, promised to ensure prompt disbursement of funds to Julius Berger Nigeria Limited to ensure timely completion of the project.
Governor of Delta State and captain of the Timor Agenda, Right Honorable Sheriff Oborevwori, in November last year, in an atmosphere filled with excitement, officially flagged off the construction of 3 flyover bridges at NRN Junction, PTI Junction and DSC Roundabout in the Warri axis of the state by Julius Berger Nigeria PLC. Governor Oborevwori was recently at the PTI flyover construction site in Uwe local government area to see for himself the level of work done so far. Speaking to journalists after inspecting the ongoing construction work, Governor Oborevwori expressed satisfaction with the progress made so far, noting that the job will be delivered within its time frame.
First, I'm impressed with the work that they have done so far. I said at the initial stage that for the 7 months, in as much you are paying Berger, they were able to meet up with the time they have given to us.
The governor also hails Julius Berger for creating alternative routes for road users to ease their burdens and ensure the free flow of traffic along the construction area. Speaking further, Governor Oborevwori said the state government was working with the construction giant to redesign the Efurun roundabout to allow for the construction of cloverleaf and road expansion along the axis.
They're trying to redesign the Efurun roundabout. They're trying to redesign it, modern it. Start agreeing on the actual design at that Efurun roundabout. They can't do the expansion.
It will be recalled that in May last year, when Governor Oborevwori was sworn in as the 5th democratically elected governor of the Big Heart State, he promised to renew the face of Warri, the commercial hub in the state and its environs. The construction of 3 flyovers, which is fully on the way now, is one of such initiatives of the governor that will go on to ease the burdens of commuters across the ever-busy metropolis and boost the socio-economic fortunes of both residents and indigenous people around Warri and the state in general.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Governor Doyediri of Bayelsa State says the affirmation of his victory at the November 11, 2023 governorship election in the state by the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja is a confirmation of the overwhelming choice of the masses who voted in the elections. Governor Diri made this assertion while speaking to journalists after the appeal court ruled in his favor against the candidate of the opposition All Progressives Congress, Chief Timipri Silva, was challenging the outcome of the election. He stated that his prosperity government remains unwavering in its commitment to provide the dividends of democracy to the people of the state.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, after results collation in the November 11, 2023 Bayelsa gubernatorial election, declared incumbent governor Senator Doyediri winner of the exercise. Senator Diri polled a total of 175,196 votes to defeat his closest challenger, Timipri Silva of the All Progressives Congress APC, who scored 110,108 votes, in a manner characteristic of recent elections in Nigeria. The APC candidate approached the election tribunal with contradictory requests, seeking both to invalidate the entire process and to be declared the winner of the same election, among other demands. However, the 3-member panel, led by Adekunle Adeleye, dismissed the prayers on the grounds that Silva and the APC failed to present any credible evidence to prove allegations of electoral fraud during the Bayelsa State governorship election. Displeased with this ruling, the aggrieved party went forward to the Court of Appeal to test the strength of this verdict. But to their disappointment and the excitement of Diri, the PDP and their supporters, the appellate court last week again threw out the pleas of the opposition party and its candidate for lack of merit. Counsel to Diri, Chris Uche and Sumina Jombo said the initial judgment of the tribunal is grounded in the laws and therefore could stand any further scrutiny.
This is what we call concurrent judgments, concurrent findings. So if it has become a pattern for persons not to know when to halt and they want to go to wherever they are, they must bear in mind that these are concurrent decisions which are not very easy to set aside. And one thing that is critical, one thing that is very important in this case, as the Court of Appeal noted, is that the appellants failed in the duty to provide the evidence.
Senator Doyediri, who described the appeal court ruling as a reconfirmation of the mandate given by Bayelsans in the November 2023 governorship elections, promised to remain focused on service delivery in the state.
It's a distraction not only to me, but to the government and the people of the state. For me, clearly this is not unexpected, considering the judgment that was delivered by the tribunal. And so it's a victory for the people of Bayelsa State. And I don't think I want to waste my time by calling for anybody to come and work with me. It's a waste of time.
For his part, Sylvester Elema, counsel to the petitioner, hinted that his client is not resting on his oars just yet.
The beauty of it is that this is not the final court. So we still have the right to exercise another right of appeal to the Supreme Court.
Meanwhile, in the recent ruling of the Supreme Court on local government autonomy, Governor Doyediri maintained that Bayelsa State does not have a record of tampering with funds allocated to local councils.
It is a known secret that Bayelsa State government has been the source of the strength of local governments. We have not only augmented for local governments, we have set up a system that is making local governments to be functional in Bayelsa State.
Senator Doyediri also criticized the current practice where some states have over 40 local government areas, while Bayelsa, a significant revenue contributor, has only 8. In other developments in the state, Governor Doyediri has agreed to partner with the government of Trinidad and Tobago to develop the Bayelsa State Industrial Park. The partnership was reached last week when Trinidad and Tobago High Commissioner in Nigeria, Ambassador Wendell Dilonedo, led a delegation on a courtesy visit to the Bayelsa State Government House in Yenagoa.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Well, that's the size of our package on the program for today. Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region will be back same time, same station next week. Until then, you can follow us on our social media handles showing right now on your screens. And please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at NDNTV Nigeria. Until next week, I am Mamode Akuga, thanking you for staying tuned. Bye for now.
Comic Republic is a Nigerian startup where we tell African stories. We push the African narrative forward through a traditional art form that is popular all around the world, which is comic books.
We kind of write stories that everybody can find a bit of themselves somewhere in there. You know, when you read our books, you will always be able to find one book that you are able to connect with, even if you are not an African. It's not just for Africans alone, but it's the African narrative. That's really what we do.
We take the process of telling our stories, you know, making our comic books engaging. We do it professionally and we take it as a business. We're growing bigger every day.
You know, we try to make sure that all of our comics, all of our content has a positive message underlying them, even apart from all the action, all the punching, and all the superheroics.
Right now we have close to 48,000 downloads per comic book. We get between 5,000 to 7,000 unique visitors every week. Nigerians have been really excited to see people in Nigeria creating heroes from Nigerians, telling Nigerians that we can be everything we need to be if we only try. The comic business actually has a wide range.
One of the major things that actually helps us to move forward here is the fact that we are more than just a team, we are a family. And family is everything. We understand ourselves, we know what we're meant to do when we're meant to do, and we get them done.
The first and foremost vision for Comic Republic is to take control of the African narrative. Who are the biggest superheroes you know today? You're looking at Spider-Man, Captain America, and Superman. If you look at the colors of their uniform, they're all the colors of the American flag. If you look at where those people come from, they come from America. This is a way that a country has from generation to generation, you know, program their people to believe that they are strong and they are efficient. We want to do the same with Comic Republic. That's what we want to do at Comic Republic. That's our vision. And until we're number one at that in the world, we're not going to stop.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
I will take you through this amazingness today.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bukky November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Tinubu reels out 3 achievements as reasons Nigerians shouldn't hit the streets. Tinubu governors orders mourn as Ohaneze leader dies. And Barack Obama wife endorsed Kamala Harris for president. Good evening, I am Destiny Momo. This is News Now. President Bola Tinubu has dismissed concerns about manipulation by interest groups in Nigeria's ongoing economic reforms, stating that his campaign was self-sponsored and without strings. He emphasized the importance of a good conscience and a defense against corruption, emphasizing the future of Nigerians. Tinubu also emphasized the need to address the potential for protests fueled by anger and hate to degenerate into violence and sets the country backwards. He emphasized the need to rework social welfare schemes, provide allowances to the poor and vulnerable, and increase the minimum wage by over 100%. Traditional rulers called for calm over the planned nationwide protest against economic hardship, which is set to begin on August 1st, 2024. And meanwhile, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has urged Nigerians not to participate in the proposed August 1st to 10th, 2024 hardship protest due to the commencement of the student loan scheme, the 70,000 naira new minimum wage, and the establishment of the Consumer Credit Initiative. He stated that his government is reworking its social welfare scheme to reach vulnerable Nigerians at the grassroots levels, providing allowances to the poor and vulnerable. The minimum wage has been increased by more than 100%, and the Nigerian National Assembly passed the new Minimum Wage Act after Tinubu and Nigerian workers agreed on the 70,000 naira minimum wage. The federal government has also begun disbursing funds to 110,000 successful beneficiaries of its 35 billion naira funded student loan scheme. And the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has urged all groups planning to participate in the proposed nationwide protest to submit their details to the Commissioners of Police in their respective states. He spoke while addressing journalists in Abuja on Friday. He said this was to ensure the protest was peaceful. Egbetokun said that he acknowledged the constitutional right of Nigerian citizens to peaceful assembly and protest. The IG added that the information expected from the organizers also include measures to prevent hijacking by criminal elements, as well as key identifiers for possible isolation of potential troublemakers. He added that by providing their information, the police will be able to deploy adequate personnel and resources to ensure public safety. He also said the police needed to know the specific routes and areas for the protest to avoid conflicts with other events or activities. Details later. And a human rights activist, Ebun Olu Adegborua SAN, has notified security agencies requesting protection over planned public meetings, rallies and processions by a non-governmental body. The Take It Back movement, its members, some patriotic Nigerians and groups. As a later dated Friday, July 26, 2024, the senior advocate writing as solicitor to the Take It Back movement notified the Inspector General of Police, IGP, and the Director of the Department of State Services, DSS, that the planned rallies would commence from August 1 to 10, 2024, or any time thereafter. He said the rallies will be held at the Eagle Square in Abuja and other public spaces in the capital cities of the 36 states and headquarters of the 774 local government councils. Adegborua, while reiterating the role of the security agencies during such rallies and protests, urged the leadership of the security agencies to make available the details of any of their officers or teams that will be assigned to cover the said meetings, rallies, processions to harmonize plans and strategize for the same. The request comes against the background of warnings from security agencies and groups over the planned protest. On Thursday, the Department of State Services, DSS, cautioned against demonstrations, saying it had identified the sponsors. While the DSS agreed on the citizens' right to protest, it also claimed that some elements planned to hijack it. And the Commissioner of Police in Anambra State, Nage Obono Itam, has insisted that only identifiable protesters in the state will be allowed to participate during the proposed nationwide hunger protest starting on August the 1st. Itam cautioned that any form of violence or unlawful activities during the protest will not be tolerated. The Commissioner of Police stated this in Okar on Friday, adding that the protesters should go and identify themselves at the nearest police locations, adding that only the identifiable protesters will be protected, noting that faceless individuals will not be allowed to participate. He said the command will not stop people from protesting, but by action that threatens the fragile peace in the state would not be tolerated. And the Third Republic federal lawmakers have joined in the call to abort the planned nationwide protest by yet-to-be-identified groups in the country, which is expected to commence on the 1st of August to the 10th, following the economic hardship that followed some stringent economic policies taken by the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on assumption of office on May 29, 2023. The group of the class of 1992 to 1993 lawmakers who are representing the 593 federal lawmakers during the Third Republic made the call in Abuja at a press briefing on Friday after the outcome of an extraordinary meeting with a resolve to appeal to the vibrant youth in the country on the need to set aside their plans to embark on the needless exercise.
Protest is definitely not an abnormality in a democracy. We appreciate that, and we appreciate them also for their initiative in this regard. But in this case, this administration is barely 1 year and 2 months old in existence. The administration of His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu is evidently not resting on his laurels. Nigeria has already gone through its share of turbulence through a long period of military dictatorship and the epileptic political transition program. Let us all avert a situation that can lead us in this ugly path again.
On why government has not made moves to identify leaders of the planned protest, the group says the present members of the House have made overtures to their various constituencies on the need to shun the protest, as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration is just barely 1 year, 2 months old.
We're not here to threaten anyone. We are only trying to implore the way of peace. It's only when we have peace that we can have development. And we proudly remain associates of Mr. President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria because we served in virtually the same capacity as members of this great institution in 1992. And we have seen a lot of qualities, we have seen a lot of virtues, we have seen a lot of zeal and commitment, patriotism in the person of Mr. President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria today. That is why we proudly remain to associate ourselves with him as one of us. And we want to plead with Nigerians, not even the so-called perpetrators of this alleged protest, Nigerians at large, to please understand with Mr. President. He has once said it in one of his very popular speeches that he wish he could have done otherwise.
The group, however, appealed to the protest planners to give the president more time to fix the country. And students of tertiary institutions in Delta State have dissociated themselves from the planned nationwide protest. The planned protest, tagged End Bad Governance in Nigeria, is scheduled for August 1st to August 10th, which, according to the organizers, the protest is to draw the attention of President Bola Tinubu's administration to the plight of Nigerians and rising cost of living. Our summer correspondent, Akomojoro Friday, reports that the President, National Association of Delta State Students, NADESTU, Comrade Monday Whisker, at a press conference in Asaba, said students of tertiary institutions in Delta State were strongly in support of the administration of Governor Sharif Aborowari and vowed not to protest against such.
We are here today to address a very pressing national issue that borders on our student community in Delta State over the alleged planned nationwide protests. As a voice of student body, we want to
Apologize for that report. We'll bring you more in a subsequent bulletin. And Kaduna State Governor Senator Uba Sani has stated that Kaduna will support nationwide protest against hunger and bad governance as they are not in the interest of the country and the northern region. Sani stated that any protest sponsored by faceless individuals is not for the good of democracy, and his administration will not support such moves against peace and development.
You know me extremely well. I've been one of the leading people that fought for the enthronement of democracy in Nigeria as a civil rights activist. We fought for democracy, but I can tell you clearly here that this so-called protests organized by some faceless individuals is not in the interest of the country, is not in the interest of the North, is not the interest of Kaduna State. And because of that, here in Kaduna, I can tell you without any fear of contradiction that nobody will support any protest against the government from Kaduna.
Arewa Consultative Forum President Maman Osuman criticized the planned national protest as counterproductive and ill-timed, stating that its members would not support it at any level.
From this contemplated protest, it is ill-timed, it's not good for our country, and so to that extent, the ACF had discussed it because we're always on time. At the last National Working Committee meeting of the Arewa Consultative Forum, we reflected on it, and we reached the consensus that the National Publicity Secretary should speak out on behalf of ACF, completely disassociating the ACF, and to tell our people that it is ill-timed, it's not purpose-driven, and it is not in the interest of the North and the country.
And meanwhile, the Nigerian Labour Congress chapter in Kebbi State said on Friday that it will not participate in the planned August protests organized by some youth in the country. Chairman of the union in the state, Murtala Usman, in a statement made available to newsmen, said the union and her affiliates would not be part of the destruction of their members' property, houses, shops and families, which usually happens during protests. The statement added that the union will continue to peacefully pursue the demands of their members without undue stress and protest that will add to Nigeria's economic issues in the country. He said, let the federal government hasten the alleviation of pains being faced by workers. At least 20 more trucks of rice should be distributed to civil servants alongside other measures aimed at relieving the workers of burdens. He called on the state government to follow the footprints of the federal government by adding more trucks of rice to complement what the federal government did. The Coalition of Concerned Civil Society Organizations, CSOs, under the auspices of Kaduna Consent Group, has distanced itself from planned nationwide protests to hold August 1st, urging President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to listen to the plight of Nigerians to address economic hardship in the country. Addressing the press conference in Kaduna, the spokesperson of the coalition, Ambassador Kamaladin Kabir, said that withdrawal from the nationwide planned protest is to give government time to address challenges Nigerians are facing, stating that the protest has no clear mission.
I want to use this medium to express our withdrawal from the nationwide planned protest of 4th to 10 August 2024. Not because we are happy with the government policies, but due to the fact that the mission behind the said protest is ambiguous, and the leadership of the protest refuse to make it clear. We wish to state it clear to the world that we shall plan a better protest with clear mission at a better time provided. To listen to the plight of the nation and handle the issues of insecurity, hardship, and fuel price hike with seriousness. Other issues include hike in electricity tariff, tertiary institution tuition fees, hike as well as hike in the interest rate of commercial banks.
And a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Lady Olayinka, has urged the federal and state governments to stop being disturbed by what he termed as an imaginary nationwide protest. Olayinka, former chief press secretary to the erstwhile governor of Ekiti State, Ayo Fayose, in a statement on Friday, urged the government to remain focused in discharging its duty, insisting that no one is planning any protest. However, President Bola Tinubu and the 36 state governors are working tirelessly to ensure that the protest does not hold. According to him, protests are spontaneous reactions to issues, not what is planned for months. The one in Kenya was a spontaneous reaction to the passage of the bill to impose more taxes on the people. It did not start months after the bill had been passed. It started immediately. And President Bola Tinubu, former President Muhammadu Buhari, and governors have expressed condolences for the death of Chief Emmanuel Iwuanyanwu, the President General of Ohanaeze Ndigbo worldwide. Iwuanyanwu, a businessman and politician, took office on April 30, 2023, following the death of his predecessor, Professor George Obiozor. President Tinubu expressed his condolences to the family, Imo State government, friends, and associates of the deceased, while former President Buhari expressed his condolences to the Southeast. Governor Dakpo Abiodun described Iwuanyanwu's death as a profound loss to the nation. And Abia State Governor Alex Oti has expressed sadness over Iwuanyanwu's death, stating that he was outspoken against the challenges facing Igbos in Nigeria and abroad. Oti praised Iwuanyanwu for his efforts in capacity building, tackling unemployment among Igbo youths, creating jobs and providing educational opportunities. Mba also noted that Iwuanyanwu unified the Igbos in industrialization, stating that the Igbo nation had suffered a significant loss. And House of Representatives member Honorable Ikenga Ugo Chinyere has urged the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, to maintain neutrality and impartiality in the ongoing political crisis in Rivers State. Ugo Chinyere warned that taking sides could escalate the crisis and urged security agents to prevent violence, maintain peace, and uphold the rule of law while allowing democratic process to unfold.
Today is not time for politics. We are here for development. But I must say this like as a Nigerian, not because I belong to any interest or any divide in the struggle, that respecting the rights of the people should be paramount to the police force. And the police force should not act in a way to show that they are giving undue advantage to the Abuja-based politicians. The governor deserves some respect. The people of Rivers State deserve some respect. Indiscriminate arrests, indiscriminate attacks, these are things that is unwelcome and not acceptable in any democratic setting. And I want to appeal to the Inspector General of Police. Here have been very peaceful. That is why our retreat is holding in Rivers State. If Rivers is not peaceful and stable, over 80 lawmakers from the Midstream and Downstream Petroleum will not be coming to Rivers for their 3-day retreat. And we want this peace to continue, and that is why we are appealing to the IG not to take side in this thing, allow the rule of law to prevail, and stop aiding in any way the other side who are from Abuja.
The federal lawmaker visited Rivers State for a 3-day retreat of the 10th House of Representatives Mainstream and Downstream Petroleum Committee, focusing on repositioning and improving efficiency in the sector.
If you will recall, on the 9th, the 10th House of Representatives set up a joint committee, a joint forensic investigative committee of the Midstream and Downstream Petroleum with a 15-point mandate, which is to first of all find out the factor that is militating against growth in the downstream and midstream petroleum sector, the allegation of importation of adulterated petroleum products, the allegation of production of substandard petroleum products, the allegation of non-availability of crude supply to local refineries, the issue of racketeering and favoritism in the PFI regime, and other numerous issues that is militating against the downstream sector. That is why we're having this retreat, to look at it and set the agenda for the hearing of the committee, which is about on how to reposition the downstream sector and make it more effective and efficient, both the midstream and downstream.
And a High Court in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, has issued an order restraining the People's Democratic Party, PDP, from conducting its congresses, which are set to begin tomorrow, Saturday, at the ward level. Justice Charles Wali prohibited the party, its national chairman, Iliya Damagum, and national secretary, Senator Samuel Anyanwu, or their agents from gathering anywhere in Rivers State to hold ward local government and state congresses until the court hears and determines the suit before it. The suit was filed by congresses scheduled to commence on July 27 across the country, with ward congresses followed by local government congresses on August 26 and state congresses in September. And the Nigerian Medical Association, NMA, has condemned the invasion of security personnel at a health sensitization event for mothers, children, and pregnant women at Eliozu Primary Health Care Center in Obiakpo local government area of Rivers State. Dr. Robinson emphasized that the health facilities are places where essential and critical care is provided, and such invasions pose serious threats to the lives of patients and attendees of the immunization program, which was organized by the Primary Health Care Center in partnership with the Rivers State Ministry of Health.
The Nigerian Medical Association condemns in stronger terms the event that took place on the 24th of July 2024 at the Modern Primary Health Center in Eliozu, where the Ministry of Health and the Primary Health Care Management Board was trying to flag off the maternal child immunization program. And we were told by reliable sources that program was disrupted by the invasion of armed police officers, where tear gas and other instruments were used to chase away pregnant women and children from that vicinity. We are condemning that activity in its strongest terms and saying that if that scenario is not in any way meant to happen, the Nigerian Medical Association wishes to say categorically that the Temple of Healing, which are health facilities, are not meant to be disrupted by any.
He called on Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun and other stakeholders in the security sector to investigate the incident and ensure that those responsible are held accountable.
That the Nigerian police owe everyone an explanation, and we are calling on the Inspector General of Police and other security agencies to investigate that action properly and report that to the fore, and the perpetrators of that act to be brought to book. How will someone go and drive away pregnant women and tear gas them in a health facility? Even in periods of war, health facilities are being secure because they give essential services to people. Here we are trying to make sure that women and children are being immunized, and to flag up such a very notable activity. Such activity was disrupted. The Nigerian Medical Association condemns it in strongest terms, and we are saying that if this happens again, we will all march, all the doctors will all march to that facility and see how all the doctors will be tear gassed in this state. We condemn it, and we believe that this will be the last time such an activity will happen in this state.
The event aimed at aiding pregnant women and nursing mothers was violently interrupted by the invasion. Meanwhile, Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Mahmood Yakubu, has declared that the electoral umpire is capable of successfully conducting local government elections if saddled with the responsibility by law. The Commission boss made these known when he appeared before a joint National Assembly Committee on Electoral Matters to present the Ondo and Edo off-cycle elections budget on Thursday. Mahmood said the Commission can conduct local government elections if the responsibility falls on it.
Is the Commission prepared for the election? We are prepared for the election. And I must also say that this Commission in particular has a history of having conducted 3 governorship elections in each of the 2 states. We conducted the governorship election in 2016 in Edo, in 2020, September, and now by God's grace in September 2024. In Ondo,
noted that despite the challenges of flooding, there is also the issue of security.
One of the political parties raised an issue in Edo about the likely deployment of the ESSN, the Edo State Security Network. We headed to the office of the Commissioner of Police and summoned a meeting of all the security agencies in Edo State, and all of them, as members of ICSES, were at that meeting. And at that meeting, we agreed that we are going to meet with all the political parties in our office, which we did so the following day. The issue at that time was the ongoing continuous voter registration. And since then, I am not aware any official complaints from any party or candidate to me on the role of the ESS.
Mahmoud also appealed to the lawmakers to speedily pass the Electoral Offenders Bill under the current assembly to empower the commission with the capacity and resources to effect arrests and thoroughly investigate electoral offences to mitigate electoral malfeasance.
INEC has been the person